What's up, USMNT fans? This is Rohan from OneGoal, back with another episode of Around the Box. Today, we got George and Matt from the OneGoal pod with us. We are pumped to have them here. We're going to break down 5 very debatable, hot USMNT topics. So get ready. Let us know what you like. Let us know what you disagree with, and let us know what you want to hear debated on Around the Box. So without further ado, let's get started.
All right, first topic. Should Yunus Musah play on the wing? So Matt, I know you've been very vocal about this one on Twitter, so I'll let you take it away. Should Yunus Musah play on the wing?
It's pretty simple. The answer is no. Okay, I understand he plays on the wing for Valencia, but they play a 4-4-2. He's more of a right midfielder. And if you watch him, the thing about him is it's speed. And he's fast. So you can play him out in the wing. But also when you watch him, you realize he's not incredibly technical on one-on-one plays. So I think that's what it comes down to. You want a guy on the wing who's good in one-on-one battles. He's speed, he's strength. So where do you want that? You want that in the midfield. Case closed.
I agree. And like when you watch his team play, they just park the bus and counter. And yeah, that works good with someone that's fast and strong. But in the U.S. system where we're actually trying to like boss the game and dominate possession, it's not going to work as well, because he's actually going to be asked to beat a guy that's like standing him up and not a guy that's running back to his goal. And it's just not going to be effective. And I don't think people watch his team play in La Liga and they just go with what they see on the lineup graphic. And they're like, he's a winger.
I agree. I mean, it's on ESPN Plus, so you can understand it, but it's one of those things where it's like, okay, clearly he's not a winger. I understand.
Best investment you can buy. You need ESPN Plus. Better than Bitcoin.
I completely agree.
Agreed. Yeah, I feel like we're all going to be in agreement on this one. I mean, he's got excellent ball retention skills. He's got incredible pressing ability, which is great for Berhalter's system. In his youth, obviously, he played in the midfield. Berhalter has acknowledged that. He's played him there. I still think he also has a good opportunity to take shots on goal, and I think he's a goal scorer as well. He's probably better suited to employ that when he's in the middle of the park, pressing players, kind of winning the ball off and then opening up for a shot. But I don't think that's only reserved for wingers. I think he's an excellent midfielder for the USMNT system as well.
For sure. And are you guys all aligned that should he be starting in the midfield or should it be Gio Reyna?
I mean, for me, it's pretty clear that he should be in contention. I'm kind of a believer in Sebastian Lletget, which we can talk about maybe another time. But I think it's one of those things where you have to give him every opportunity to be a starter. And we haven't seen enough of our midfield trio in the first place to make a decision at this point. So I think, yes, potentially, but I think let's just wait and see and find out.
George?
Matt, you touched on something earlier. You said they kind of just see the 4-4-2. They see him on the wing and they say that's where he is. If we, based off of positions our players play for their club teams, we'd have Yunus Musah at right wing, Weston McKennie at left wing, Jordan Morris at striker, Ty Adams right wing back, Christian Pulisic left wing back. So I think we have to look at the way these players play for their club teams and how they fit with us rather than putting their club team positions for us. So I think that's a really important point.
Yeah, I don't think there's enough people that actually they're not able to delineate between like your role. And we talked about this on the last episode, but the difference between someone's role and someone's position. And because like Tyler Adams, like his role with Leipzig, it does, I think it fits in perfectly with like playing the 6 in the U.S.'s system, even though he's like a right wing back for Leipzig. And yeah, I think given that, Yunus Musah should play in the center, and he should start over Sebastian Lletget. Easy. Next topic. Who should be the center back pairing come World Cup qualifying? George?
I think first and foremost, John Brooks is a lock at left center back. He's been one of the best center backs in the entire Bundesliga. The problem with John Brooks is he's had injury problems, and even though he had the small one this year, for the most part, he's been able to stay in the lineup. So now it becomes who starts with him, and I kind of see it as 2 tiers. I see the tier of the young guys with Chris Richards and Mark McKenzie, and then I see the veteran tiers with Matt Miazga, Walker Zimmerman, and Aaron Long. But I'm going to give this one to one of the 2 young guys. I think it's between Chris Richards and Mark McKenzie. And I think I'm going to go McKenzie on this one. To me, he just seems like more of a seasoned veteran. I love that he's 2-footed. So if John Brooks does go down, he can slide into the left center back role. I'd probably put him over Tim Ream. So I just think that veteran leadership that Mark McKenzie has already shown at 21 years old probably propels him for me. And I think I'd rather have him going into a game like against Costa Rica.
I feel like if we had a competitive game tomorrow, though, more likely we're going to see Miazga or Aaron Long. They both probably aren't the best at distribution of the ball, kind of playing out the back. I agree. From the young guys, Mark McKenzie is the standout pick there for his versatility. But I just feel like Berhalter has a couple favorites, Aaron Long being one of them, Miazga being another. Realistically, we probably see one of them paired up just because of their, senior team USA experience.
No, I agree with that. I think the interesting thing is you look at the list of players that George listed. A lot of them you have to look at is who's the best athlete, because John Brooks is the distributor. Matt Miazga might be really good in distribution, but he's not as much of an athletic cover guy. So I think that's a Chris Richards, that's a Mark McKenzie, that's definitely an Aaron Long. You talk about guys with experience. I think right now, as much as we want to see another young guy step up, it's pretty hard to say, hey, I know you just had your first debut, or in Mark McKenzie's case, you played against Costa Rica, against their B team. Now come play against my World Cup qualifying. So I think, what you're going to get in Aaron Long. Is the upside the same? Probably not, but you got to win the game first and then work the guys in. So maybe it's an Aaron Long for 70 minutes when you're up 3-0, then you put in Chris Richards or Mark McKenzie. But I think for now it has to be Aaron Long.
Wait, you sub in your center backs? That's your move? That's
I want to give them the opportunity.
Never getting a coaching job, buddy.
Yeah, you're fired. I am not an Aaron Long guy. I can pass the ball better than Aaron Long. He's not. I'm not about it. Rohan, I know you're a Red Bulls guy, and so you see him. He cannot pass. I go Chris Richards. I hear your argument, George, about Mark McKenzie, but I've never seen someone get caught ball watching as much as Mark McKenzie does. And like at the international level,
have you seen DeAndre Edlin?
Yeah, he's bad. That's true. Okay, so it's the second worst ball watcher that I've seen. But he like in the international game, you one set piece where you get caught sleeping, and that's a goal, and that can decide the game. So for me, like, while I like Mark McKenzie, he's not ready yet. I would go Chris Richards. I trust him. He in the U20 World Cup, he was elite. In the limited minutes he's gotten, he's been elite. I'm a big Chris Richards guy. That's who I would go. Next topic: which retired player would start for the current USMNT? Rohan?
Oh, for me, it's got to be Clint Dempsey. I mean, he just like embodied the like American underdog hunger, and maybe we've kind of. Some people will argue, okay, we've transitioned from that a little bit, but you always want that guy with the winning mentality in your team. And he just brought that grit, that aggression, that physicality, which just kind of elevates the play. And I think he would actually work really well in a high pressing system these days as well. I mean, you just look at how he tried some crazy stuff. He also was able to compete, at the highest levels, playing in the Premier League. Obviously, his Europa League performance is the big highlight against Juventus, where he scored that crazy chip. And so he knows what it's like to be a part of a winning team that goes far in cup competitions. For me, it's got to be Clint. Yeah.
Is he playing on the wing for you then? Is he like one of those inverted wingers, or where does he fit in exactly?
Yeah, I mean, I guess on the wing, I'd like to see him in the midfield as well, because I do like that aggression in the middle of the park. But it's a dynamic system. I guess I could see him in multiple positions. I wouldn't say he would start, but I think it would be awesome to have as someone to just kind of throw in when you really need some solidarity, when you need some high press, when you need, just some crazy opportunity taking.
Are you guys going with Deuce in the lineup?
So I was thinking about this, and that was probably going to be my pick, but I was thinking, we kind of need a left back, so I'm happy to go with DeMarcus Beasley and give him the starting left back position. I think, he's one of the most underrated players in USMNT history, and I'm happy to give him that shot. If he's still got it, I'm not doubting he does, so if he wants to play, I'm ready for it.
I think we'd bring them back in their prime, so he'd definitely still have it in this scenario.
I'll also consider Fabian Johnson if you consider him kind of retired or washed as well.
Yeah, he counts. He's without a team, so yeah, he definitely counts. That's a good shout. George, who you got?
You see, Matt, I like the left back shot as well, but I'm going even more underrated than DeMarcus Beasley. I'm going John O'Brien. We see so many young players going into Europe now. He was kind of the pioneer of that, went to Ajax when he was 17. Originally a midfielder, so he's super technical, but for Ajax, he mostly played left back in. When he was at the top of his game, 2002 World Cup, he was one of the best midfielders at the entire tournament. And pretty much after that, niggling injuries, and he really couldn't get a foothold. But I think just his technical ability is very in line with the team now. Probably you don't need him in midfield because you have guys like Musah and Adams, but at left back, having a player that's technical like that, we talk about our left backs and right backs being able to pass. I think he fits that bill perfectly.
That's a deep cut, John O'Brien. You don't hear that enough anymore.
I like that one a lot. That's a great pick. I agree. I think he's like the perfect person you want because he can do a lot of different things and you want a versatile player. A lot of our positions are kind of solidified, but to have a guy where you can be like, hey, come in and play and you're really good. He's really good and you can play it anywhere. So I like that.
Yeah, you guys sold me. I initially was going to pick a center back, but based on your guys' arguments, yeah, I'm going either John O'Brien or Fabian Johnson.
There you go.
Yeah, that locked down the left back spot. Yeah, so I think it would give us some much needed solidity. And then with that, we don't really have any weaknesses in our lineup. But moving towards the next topic, speaking of left backs, Sam Vines or Antonee Robinson. I'll take this one just because I'm very passionate about it. I'm a huge Sam Vines stan. He's, I think he's a great player. And I think people that completely discount him and throw him out of the lineup are just like Euro snobs, or they don't actually watch him play. Because if you watch him, he has everything that we need from our left back. He's consistent on defense. He's adequate on the ball. He can get down the line. He can do a little bit of everything, but most importantly, he can lock down a good winger. And that's what we're going to need. Whereas Antonee Robinson, I just don't trust him to do that in a big game or even a small game. That's my pick.
So I don't know if this is unfair for me to always do player comparisons in light of, okay, if we had a competitive game tomorrow, who would start? But I mean, for me, just based on Antonee Robinson's experience, okay, he hasn't maybe had the perfect start to his Premier League, tenure, but he has had some excellent games against top wingers. So I kind of disagree with you on that. I think he has kind of shown, that he can compete and he can kind of hold his own for the most part. He's excellent with his athleticism, with his ability to kind of cross and use his speed to recover on the other end of the ball. So, I mean, again, both these players are super young. They have high potential. We'll see where it goes. I'd love to see Sam Vines, continue to improve, especially after that stellar performance in the last USMNT game. But I want to see him in a more competitive league. I want to see him, performing against more athletic, more demanding attackers on the opposition.
Do you think Robinson could handle the necessary technical aspects of Berhalter's system though?
I think that's a great question, honestly. I think that's really what it comes down to is you talk about Yunus Musah and where he plays, they both play different roles for their club. And Antonee Robinson is a starting left back in the Prem, but what he does for Fulham and what he would have to do for the USMNT, completely different things. And it's about, can you get a guy in possession and who can hold the ball for a little bit? You watch a lot of Antonee Robinson, hardly ever do you see him pass the ball backwards. And I think to me, that's a very interesting thing where it's I want a guy who can hold the ball. And the question with Sam Vines is, okay, he's done it a little bit, but can he do it against the high level opponents? And so are you waiting who they're playing for against their club in a different role, or are you waiting the guy who's shown he can do it a little bit against lesser opponents? And I don't think right now we have a clear answer, so I can't give you one, but I think you have to give Antonee Robinson every chance to be that guy, but it might take longer than we want.
George?
You see, I'm a very simple man. I talk about it on our podcast all the time. Back in the day, even as recently as 2-3 years ago, a guy could play in a random European league and we'd be calling him for him to start. We have a guy starting in the Premier League. People are like, oh, that's not good enough. Oh, he doesn't do this. Oh, he doesn't do that. And I can almost say the same thing to DeAndre Yedlin, where a guy who was starting in the Premier League as recently as last month, we kind of don't even consider him in our top 3 right backs. So I think Antonee Robinson's a Premier League caliber player. He came up through Everton. He knows how to have the ball in possession. Even if he doesn't necessarily do it for Fulham, you can't expect him to do it in his first game for the national team. So I think give him a week or two in a camp and then put him in the game, he'll be fine.
All right, yeah, we'll just have to wait and see come March, and we'll see how he does. Final topic here. This is a good one. So who from the big 3 will be the first one to get phased out? This is a tough one, so I'll take it. For me, it's Tyler Adams. I'm a big Tyler Adams guy, but I think just because of the way, like stylistically, the way he plays, it's tough to play that like high tempo, high pressing thing into old age. And also he's got some injury history. And then to make matters even worse, I think the US is shifting towards a more technical style of play. And we're going to need a player that's a little better on the ball. And I don't know if Tyler Adams he's good on the ball, but just not good enough. And also I'm a huge believer in the FC Dallas, like I think he's 15, Matthew Coricon. That guy is the future. Big Matthew Coricon guy.
I don't want to answer this. I'm not going to give you an answer. I think that there are big three now, and I think they're going to be the big three going into the future. And I think that certainly Tyler Adams, you mentioned a lot of things in terms of like technical aspects where he kind of struggles, but I think his position versatility is something that's really valuable. And as he gets older, you know, maybe he gets spot minutes as a right back. He can still play as a six. Like, it's really hard for me to project 10 years from now, 15 years from now, like what it's really going to look like. And all of those guys are playing for top clubs. And I don't want to make a determination about their career because we've seen not even their best football yet. So how can I make that claim?
George, you got something?
See, I don't even know the answer to this, but all I'll say is, according to some people on Twitter, Pulisic's a finished player already who needs to get loaned to the championships. So based on that, I guess he's already on his way out to getting phased out. So who knows?
Rohan?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty rough. I mean, people have pretty short-term memories then, considering how Pulisic, people say he carried Chelsea near the end of the last season. So I don't think that a player can completely fall off the rails that quickly. I mean, I hate this question for a lot of reasons. It's very controversial. And again, it's hard to predict the future, but I guess Tyler Adams, damn, that hurts being a Red Bull fan again to kind of admit that. Super exciting for him to be like the first player to go from our academy to like Champions League level. I mean, that's incredible. So, but I mean, he has some, worrying injury issues. So, you hope those don't manifest itself over time. But again, if you're thinking about like, is he going to consistently be a starting player in the USMNT, short term, medium term, absolutely. Long term, there's a lot of competition in the midfield. But again, then, hey, his versatility comes into play. So he's always going to be in the mix for his entire career. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, I don't know. Again, terrible question, Jake.
I think you brought up something good, Matt, where I actually may change my answer if Tyler Adams can make the switch to right back. I could see him potentially like prolonging his career if he switches to right back. In which case, because I'm just coming for blood today, and the next player to get benched would be Pulisic. Because yeah, I think the same thing. Wingers have short lifespans. He's injury prone. And yeah, there's just going to be another more exciting younger winger that replaces him.
All right, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the latest episode of Around the Box. Let us know what you liked. Let us know what you want to hear more of, and let us know what you want to hear debated in the comments below in future episodes. But first, a big thank you to Matt and George from the One Goal Pod. You guys want to break it down? Let them know what you guys are up to.
Yeah, I mean, first, thanks guys for having us. This was a lot of fun. It was a lot quicker than our normal podcast, so it was good to get some takes off there, and I enjoyed that. But yeah, we are the OneGoalUS Soccer Podcast. I'm Matt, and that's George, of course. We're doing Thursdays or Fridays once a week, talking all things US soccer. So come find us as well. We love to break things down and just talk soccer.
Yeah, cool. It's good to actually show our faces too. I know we are handsome, funny, and knowledgeable. Surprising that we have the complete package. So this is what we look like.
Best mustache in the game.
Yeah, best mustache in the game besides Tom Bogart. I gave him that crown for now. So, maybe a couple months I'll come back and get Tom on and we'll see from there. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thanks guys for having us. And yeah, we'll see.